with the business owners that I coach and train, and with the entrepreneurs and whatever executives, with my clients, a lot of the times, me as a coach, I am just, during some sessions, I'm just there to be a sounding board. What some of my clients said is this, Evan, I find that being vocal to you and sharing the specific issue that are on my plate really helps me unlock answers to my problems. It's kind of about having that emotional release, helps to make the problem feel smaller.
Welcome to our series entitled The I Am Podcast, a podcast about innovation, business, and most importantly, people. In this series, we'll be talking to founders, executives, and various experts about their vision, challenges, best practices, and lessons learned throughout their journey. Let's get started. Hello and what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the I Am Podcast. Well, tonight I am delighted. I'm going to be joined by the Asia's premier executive coach, EVAN TZIVANAKIS. Hello, EVAN. How are you doing?
Hey, May. How are you? Very well, thank you. Nice to see you again. How are you?
Yes, I am good. It's hot, but it's typhoony in the Philippines, this season. But, we're excited.
Yes, it's monsoon season is starting in Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia. Well, I'm not too bad. Thank you. And today I want to talk about, as we discussed before, a little bit about entrepreneurship and kind of side hustles and running businesses. What do you think?
Yes. But before that, I wanna tell our viewers and our listeners that if you haven't listened to EVAN yet, we had season 2, episode 27. It's the episode. Woohoo! The episode is like how leaders can get clarity and lead teams with ease, which is a very timely topic. And you said it right. Today, you're going to give us a ton of value by talking about how to handle stress at work.
I'm going to share my experience. I hope we're going to add value to the listeners, and just I'm going to share my humble opinion and experience from my practical work.
I remember I've invited one founder on the show, and he said he spends more time at work than at home. And at work we get different kinds of stress. Like it could be good, it could be bad, and that's what we want to know from you. Okay, so first, what are common stressors at work?
At work, as an entrepreneur, I think, or if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, or maybe you're somebody who is who has a side hustle, something on the side, I think the biggest stress is money, financial. How I'm going to run the business, how I'm going to, where I'm going to find money, what will cash flow be next week, what will cash flow be next month, next quarter. So, as an entrepreneur, I suppose, and myself, running couple of businesses, the dollars and the cents are probably always floating at the top of my mind. If you're listening to this, maybe you are self-funding your business, or maybe you are hustling to get an investor or two. So, or maybe you've secured investment dollars and you're building a team. It is probably, again, according to my opinion, is that money or lack of money is the number one stressor for entrepreneurs.
The Philippines, inflation rate, it's really affecting every Filipino. And you said for entrepreneurs, how about for teams like workers, or aside from low salaries, are there any other work stressors, like especially after or during the pandemic?
Well, in inflation, you touched a very hot topic right now. It's a global phenomenon. It's happening everywhere. But stress, everyone feels stress. But what exactly is stress? Because I do believe that different people perceive stress differently. It could be, for example, emotional stress or physical tension that comes up when you feel like you don't have enough capacity, I suppose, to meet a situation's demand. Now, as you said it, for people that work, finance also is our biggest stressor as well. How I'm going to provide for my family, inflation, the price of energy and fuel have gone up. So another stressor would be feeling overwhelmed. It's also a common stressor. Maybe you have so many ideas about how you can grow your business. Or if you are a team manager, how many ideas about how to develop your team, to train your team, to recruit members in your team. But, we only have limited hours in the day to execute those ideas. Therefore, I think the thought of an endless pile of work on our plate can easily cause strain.
Exactly. Like you said it right. Everyone maybe who has a job, at some point feel the pressure, right? Like even no matter how you love your job, it could really come to a point where it gets overwhelming for workers, for entrepreneurs. You said we only have 24 hours a day, like all of us. So do you think we should ever feel that pressure to be available 24 hours a day?
Well, in Portugal has introduced a law where the boss, your employer, is not allowed to take you outside of your work contract hours. You can sue them. So that answers your question. Because at the end of the day, we make the decision. So if you are in Portugal and you are employed, and if I'm your boss, I'm not allowed to text you or email you outside of your work hours, and you can sue me. That happened because Portugal has a lot of self-employed people. They also provide a online remote visa and all that. So they have created that law in order to protect people from feeling overwhelmed and burnout. And another thing that I suppose is both. If you are an entrepreneur, if you are running a business or a side hustle, and at the same time, also, if you are a manager, is loneliness. And
good point. Yeah.
What do I mean loneliness? Is you can be among people and feel lonely, but at the same time, you could be alone. If you're constantly working from home, you may find yourself lonely, and feeling lonely and loneliness, I think, is another common feeling among founders and business owners. Especially, I remember in my early days, a few years ago, I was the only person behind my business, which leads me to stress, feeling lonely, and so on and so forth. So if you are the only founder, if you are if you are a solopreneur, you are 100% accountable for your company's success or failure, which, of course, don't get me wrong, can be hard to take, especially when things don't go your way.
What are the signs you're feeling lonely or getting burnt out or feeling overwhelmed?
Yeah, for me it was to become I caught myself becoming negative, and you need self-awareness. But I really got myself in the past when I was feeling burnout is to feel negative about the work I do, and then to be sarcastic towards myself and others. So if you see that within yourself, maybe it's time for you to take a break. And you need self-awareness, I suppose, and maybe some people are more self-aware than others. Try to put yourself in the mirror and see, as if you're somebody else, and see, am I really enjoying what I do? Or do I need to stop it? Do I need to quit, or do I just need a break? And sometimes you'll be surprised. Sometimes all we need is a break. Maybe a day, maybe a weekend, maybe a week, and then we are back on fresh.
Working hard is different from overworking. Like what you said, when does it become overworking?
I think one of the tips I could give is when it becomes overworking is when you are feeling stressed, but then you see a lot of people I think feel stressed, but if you ask them why they feel stressed, they can't identify why they're stressed. Is it because they are procrastinating on their tasks? Maybe you have a deadline, or maybe you are late on a deadline or on something. It will be easier to manage the issue once you get to the root of the cause. So maybe journaling, it's an exercise that can help you to self-reflect. Because a lot of people sometimes we say, we're stressed. What are you stressed? Oh, I'm going to be late 5 minutes, 10 minutes to the supermarket or to pick up my kids at school or something. And sometimes we get stressed for identify why you're stressed. And maybe journaling, yes, can help you self-reflect.
It's a very good point. I think, I'm not sure like how many % of people are journaling and asking themselves questions. And can you repeat those questions we ask ourselves to really identify if we are on that stress level? And
first of all, the question is different. I think what you need to do, you need kind of to take a step back and take a deep breath. But a lot of my clients sometimes, at the work I do with the business owners that I coach and train, and with the entrepreneurs and whatever executives, with my clients, a lot of the times, me as a coach, I am just, during some sessions, I'm just there to be a sounding board. What some of my clients said is this, Evan, I find that being vocal to you and sharing the specific issue that really are on my plate really helps me unlock answers to my problems. It's kind of about having that emotional release, helps to make the problem feel smaller. And this is sometimes the work of a coach. Sometimes really, hey, I'm just there to listen. And by listening, I'm just a sounding board. My clients feel better. It's like sometimes we say, talk to a friend or sleep on it, right? All these things help.
So just by releasing the stress, reduces stress.
By sharing it.
By sharing it, yes. Okay. Do you advise, like, example, I'm gonna give you a scenario. Okay. So employee A is a really hard working girl. She always finishes her tasks, even like before the deadline. And her manager's always happy with the work that she's doing. But the thing is, so she shines and she's given more and more tasks to complete because she can complete the tasks way earlier than expected. So do you think there is something wrong, or should she talk to the supervisor? How? What's the best way to deal with it?
Well, effective communication is good, and she can talk to the supervisor. That's number one. Managing up. Actually, one of the courses I run is how to manage your boss. Maybe we can talk about this in another episode. Not to sell my program, but to know how to manage your boss. And it's a very good concept on how actually to communicate properly with your boss, with your supervisor, to make that relationship better. But my opinion, from my humble opinion, again, from my practical experience, is to avoid multitasking. Because if you multitask too much, this can add more stress to your day and make you less effective. Because the human brain, we are not really designed to do multiple things at once. And really, performance drops when people try to multitask versus complete a task in isolation. And a misconception we have about multitasking, when we think we are multitasking, we typically make between 2 and 4 times as many mistakes, even when we think we are quite effectively juggling more than one task, So I would like to monotask, if you want me to use that, if you understand the term. Monotask.
Yes. Like, just focus at one thing and do it well.
Turn off notification, sound out of your email while you're focusing at work. And it's something I learned I learned from one of the coaches I had, is how to kind of work in isolation for 45 minutes. So every 45 minutes, I focus on one task, and then I take a 15 minutes break. And that helps me execute more tasks during the day, rather versus trying to do this, have the email open, WhatsApp notifications, all that. So I try to monotask.
Monotask versus multitasking.
Yes, monotask.
And so you mentioned about some entrepreneurs you have coached, and definitely they feel stressed out handling teams, right? What is a good way to recharge? Like you mentioned a while ago, take a break, or what are the other? Is there such a thing as effective way to reduce stress?
Yes, I mean, look, first of all, it depends on what you like. Like, I can't really give you, I will tell you what I do. I like to exercise. I like to go for a walk. I like to go gym. I like to pump some iron on the gym, because that helps me release stress. Exercise is a good thing. Exercise helps you. I'm not a doctor, but exercise at least helps me sweat, distress, relax, become a little bit tired. I go home, I have a shower, or at the gym, I automatically feel better. That's number one. Maybe sleep. Maybe for other people, could be taking an hour sleep in the afternoon. As you know, in Spain, they call it siesta.
Siesta.
In Greece, in Italy, in the South Mediterranean countries, in Africa, it's something very common, especially during the hot summer months, July, August, September, or even June. People across different companies, private or public sector, they take a siesta of 20 minutes. So that's number two. Exercise, sleep. Another thing that you can do is to know yourself. Like, for example, me, I'm not a very good sleeper at night. I wake up really easily. So I really like to take half an hour sleep in the afternoon. It helps me. Maybe some other people that really can sleep 6-7 hours solid at night, they don't need that in the afternoon. So the tip I have here for everyone is to know yourself. And another thing, so exercise, know yourself, maybe sleep can help. Avoid watching TV, especially when the news on TV is all about COVID, Ukraine war with Russia, inflation. News are hardly positive. So, you could sleep a little bit, you could exercise, you could go for a walk. And something else that helps me is be surrounded by people who are optimistic about life, optimistic about things. Because I really believe that we become product of our own environment. If you don't smoke, what's the fastest way to become a smoker? Go spend a week with somebody that smokes. What's the best way to become an alcoholic? Go spend a week with somebody who drinks. Who are you spending time with?
I love it. Like, I remember you become the people, the 5 people you work closely with.
I do believe that. If you have that, we kind of nurture our network. And, if I have colleagues, I develop strong relationship with the people that are kind of more optimistic, and I'm trying, if I work remotely, maybe meet in person at least, some of the time, face-to-face contacts help. If you are maybe a solopreneur, a business owner, maybe try to find a group of entrepreneurs to bounce ideas off. I know things like Meetup, Internations, they are back to creating offline events. So industry conferences, networking events, technology meetups, industry meetups, pitch competitions are good ways to meet like-minded people. I know right now is the trend. It has been in trend over the last, I suppose, 5-6 years, is running clubs, right? They meet every Saturday or Sunday. They go hiking, they go running, they go walking, coffee meetings,
I agree.
Online communities, are another option for building relationships, maybe with fellow business owners, with fellow colleagues, or with people that you simply share an interest. And the interest, it doesn't have to be professional. It can be personal.
You go to a community, like-minded people, you can bounce back ideas. I love that. And like what I do sometimes, if I get overwhelmed, inflation, high prices of goods, I do this non-profit thing. So I immerse myself in a community. Well, there's an underprivileged community, can appreciate life more, be more grateful. I intentionally see the positive side of life, the simple side of life. For leaders, I want to ask this to you. Leaders or superiors or managers would not like to be the cause of stress for team members. So how can they create a healthy working environment?
Well, cooperation across the world, companies, with my latest, with the work I do with companies, we are seeing a huge shift in employee happiness. If you're all working from the office, maybe once per month, you can offer them yoga classes. You can have a yoga teacher coming in.
I just remember one founder is also like an advocate of remote work. And he said, I gather my team, we eat pizza together, we play some games, we don't talk about work. Just one way to build the relationship. and a connection.
And this is where when it comes to organizational setting and company setting, I do believe this. I do believe it's product, procedures, people, profit. So, do you have the right product in place? Do you have the right procedures in place? Do you have the right people in place? And if you have product, procedures, people in place, guess the fourth P, profit will come. So, and as I always say, a manager's customer is not the customer. A manager's customer is the employee. It was always about people, and it will always be about people. Even though if technology, yes, some jobs will be overtaken by robots and technology. You see that nowadays when you go to the airport, you don't see a lot of checking stuff anymore. You can, check your luggage. I was at Changi Airport a few weeks ago in Singapore. Up until you board the plane, you actually don't see anyone. Like I check in my luggage myself. I printed the sticker. I left the luggage on the automated conveyor belt. I passed through immigration with my, by scanning my passport. And the first time I talked to somebody, it was the air hostess when I was boarding the plane. So yes, some frontline jobs will be replaced, but new jobs will create it. So the human factor will always be there. So it will. I believe that it will always be about people. And what is KPI? What does KPI stands for? Key performance indicator? Wrong. Yes, okay. KPI stands for key performance indicator, but the new KPI stands for keep people inspired.
Yes, if you keep the people, if you keep your team engaged, you can hit the profit. Add to the bottom line. How can they connect with you, Evan?
People can connect with me through my website, executivecoachasia.com, or through LinkedIn, EVAN TZIVANAKIS. I'm quite active on LinkedIn, right? So anybody that will search my name on LinkedIn will find me, EVAN TZIVANAKIS.
Yes.
EVANTZIVANAKIS.
Thank you very much, Evan, for your time today, and I hope to see you again soon.
Thank you, May. Thank you for having me.
This podcast is powered by IMOps.io. Optimize your cloud infrastructure and CI/CD process with IMOps.io dedicated DevOps team. Check out www.imops.io and get a DevOps team